What's up guys, my name is Ace, and last week we covered a brand new muzzle that was added to Modern Warfare 3. This is the JAK BFB muzzle, which makes you show as a directional arrow on the minimap when you fire your gun. However, at the time, there was another muzzle that, for me at least, flew under the radar, and this was the ZEHMN35 Compensated Flash Hider. This was also just recently added with the Season 1 Reloaded update. And this one has an interesting effect with the minimap as well, although not quite as interesting as the JAK BFB. And I have had several people asking me about this, so today we're going to be doing a full breakdown of this muzzle as well. And diving right in, let's have a look at what this looks like in the menu and how it affects your stats based on the in-game descriptions. And with this, looking at the pros and cons, the big unique pro here that we don't see with any other muzzle is this shortens your radar ping. To top that off, it improves our vertical recoil as well as horizontal recoil control and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and bullet velocity. And just to get those cons out of the way real quick, for both bullet velocity and aim down sight speed, these are going to be harmed by roughly 5%, which isn't so bad, especially with that aim down sight speed. When you look at the JAK BFB muzzle, this will be harming our aim down sight speed by 12.5%, so it's much more harsh in that area. And then when you look at all of those Modern Warfare 2 muzzles that tend to give us the best balance of recoil control for both like horizontal, vertical, and gun kick, all of those will be harming our aim down sight speed by about 15%. So this downside is actually pretty moderate on the ZEHMN35, which may make it a slightly more attractive choice if you want to be a bit more aggressive and you don't want to sacrifice too much in the handling department. In saying that though, when it comes to our recoil improvements, these are pretty moderate as well. So our horizontal recoil is improved by 5% and vertical recoil is improved by 15%. And let's take a look at some side-by-sides. I'm going to use the same guns that I tested with the JAK BFB muzzle, just in case you guys want to compare the videos and do sort of an apples-to-apples comparison here. And we're going to start it off with the MCW, which, as you can see here, there is a noticeable improvement with this muzzle. Obviously, nowhere near as crazy as what we saw with the JAK BFB, but that's expected. After that, we've got the Sidewinder, and with this one, again, you can see maybe a slight improvement there. It's a little bit harder to see that improvement, though, because this gun kicks around like crazy. After that, we have the brand new HRM9, and again, we're seeing a noticeable improvement here to our recoil. And then finally, we've got the RAM7, which again, you're seeing a very slight improvement here, as well as the Rival 9, where we see the exact same story. So we can clearly see using the ZEHMN35 does help with recoil a little bit. And while it's definitely not the best muzzle when it comes to reducing our recoil, I do think they balance this quite well since it has very moderate downsides as well. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the basic stats of the ZEHMN35. Now let's get into the really interesting part, and this is how it interacts with your minimap. Because if you remember, with the pros, it mentions that it shortens your radar ping. And with this, unlike the JAK BFB, we do have a normal diamond that appears on the enemy's minimap when we fire this gun. So it looks exactly the same as firing an unsuppressed gun, and this includes elevation indicators, which the JAK BFB didn't. So if an enemy's above you, you'll see a little arrow above their diamond. If they're below you in elevation, you'll see an arrow below their diamond. And if they're on roughly the same elevation, you won't see an arrow at all. The only difference here with the ZEHMN35 compared to a standard unsuppressed shot is it fades away a little bit faster. As for how much faster, with a standard unsuppressed gun, that diamond will take a total of about 3 seconds to fully fade away from the enemy's minimap, whereas with the ZEHMN35, this is about 2.3 seconds before it's completely gone from their minimap. And honestly, I wouldn't call that a massive difference by any means. Somebody that's really good at checking their minimap is going to see you just fine with or without the ZEHMN35 on your gun. I was honestly expecting a little bit more of a difference here when it came to this minimap interaction. I thought this would be cutting it down to like a second or maybe a second and a half. But unfortunately, that's not the case with this particular muzzle. I would say this is a very moderate benefit that you gain with the minimap interaction, as well as, like I said, a moderate benefit to your recoil control with moderate downsides. And as a result, I do consider this muzzle to be a perfectly balanced muzzle. I don't see an issue with it at all. If you're looking for just that little bit of extra recoil control without sacrificing in the handling department, and you want that little bonus of a slightly reduced duration of that radar ping, then this muzzle is great, and I wouldn't say you're doing anything wrong by using this muzzle. In saying that though, with both of these brand new muzzles they added, I hope this is just opening up the door for them trying even more things when it comes to the minimap interaction with various muzzle attachments. This is something I really loved about Black Ops Cold War. If I remember correctly, that was the first Call of Duty to introduce different interactions with the minimap, depending on the muzzle that you're using, outside of just a suppressor or not a suppressor. And in that game, I remember some of the muzzles, they would just very briefly ping on the minimap when you fired, and I thought that was really cool, and I'd love to see them try that with this game. However, at the same time, I do think we're getting really overwhelmed with too many attachments in this game, and I do consider that to be one of the downsides of having the carryover from Modern Warfare 2, is they didn't get to start with a clean slate and then build from there, and I would have loved to see that, especially with the muzzle category. If they could have started from scratch and had a bunch of different muzzles that have different minimap interactions, some that only show up for a brief moment and then they start fading away immediately, other ones that last longer, another one like the JAK BFB that has directional arrows when you fire. I think that would be really cool if starting from scratch. But it's getting to the point now where I kind of don't want to see them add any more muzzles just because it's already overwhelming and there's too many of them in the game. Now, I will also say at least we do have advanced stats in this game, so that makes things a little bit less overwhelming, so you can see exactly what these do, rather than what we saw in Modern Warfare 2, where you have a bunch of attachments in the same category that have the exact same pros and cons, and there's no way of really knowing exactly what's different between them unless you do a whole lot of in-game testing. In either case, that is going to wrap it up for today's really quick video. Just wanted to make sure I was breaking this down for you guys since I have had so many people asking about this. And this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. First off, what do you guys think about the ZEHMN35 muzzle now that you guys have seen exactly how it works? And second, what do you think about the idea of them bringing even more muzzles into the game that have other interesting interactions with the minimap, like an even shorter ping, for instance, or maybe an even longer ping? Just let me know all of those thoughts down below. Also, if you did happen to miss my breakdown on the JAK BFB muzzle, I do find that one to be a lot more interesting than this one. I will leave a link to that one in the description of the video. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.